What's shaking, Wolverines? I'm Sebastian Alvarez.
And I'm Anthony Asqui.
And here are your news for today.
Homecoming is an annual tradition in the United States where people, towns, high schools, and colleges come together to welcome back former members of the community. The tradition of homecoming has its origin in alumni football games held at colleges and universities since the 19th century. Many schools, including Baylor, Southwestern, Illinois, and Missouri, have had claims that they held their first modern homecoming. The NCAA Trivial Pursuit and Jeopardy gives a title to the University of Missouri's 1911 football game, during which alumni were encouraged to attend. Belen took on the tradition when it opened its doors in Miami. Next week, Miami Day, the Wolverine Run, and the Homecoming Game Friday. For the complete list of events, please visit the Belen website. Students, remember, uniform pants must be worn every day. Sneakers are allowed if you're participating. No inappropriate clothes can be worn, including ripped shirts, tank tops, clothes with inappropriate writing or images. Crocs and sandals are not permitted. You must wear your complete uniform if you don't dress in the theme. Any student not adhering to the guidelines will be asked to change or go home and receive a penance.
Registration for the annual Battle Like a Wolverine is ongoing. This family-friendly event will take place on Saturday, October 22nd, and will culminate our breast cancer awareness campaign. During the school-wide campaign, students wear pink ties and participate in the annual Run, Walk, Jog. Students will be allowed to wear the designated pink ties throughout the month of October. Pink ties are on sale in the campus store for $20, and the ties can be purchased online for $20 as well.
We turn to Lucas Bogardis, who brings us his story about the overcrowding in animal shelters and how you can adopt a pet.
Pets are valuable members of each family that everyone loves, but sadly, sometimes they either get stranded or lost and end up in animal shelters. I spoke to Flora Beal, part of the Doral Pet Adoption and Protection Center, to talk about the ongoing issue of overcrowded animal shelters.
So every summer we see a spike in the population, and this is throughout the country, that shelters and rescues will see a spike in numbers. It so happens that last year that spike kind of never went down, and we went through a extended period of time where we had a high population, and then we had to take just emergency action and emergency measures to make sure that we were able to care for those that urgently needed our help and had space available for those pets. So Miami-Dade County Animal Services receives approximately 30,000 animals, dogs and cats, every year. And the ones that tend to stay here the longest are your medium and large size dogs. So those are the ones that we're always trying to bring attention to. They have the hardest time finding their forever families. And at the end of the day, that's our mission, to make sure that all of the pets that come into our care are able to live their best lives with their new families.
Flora also told me about animals other than dogs that you can find at the shelter.
So we do have a lot of cats. Of course, there's always more dogs than there are cats, because a lot of community cats that are in, they live in families throughout our neighborhood. So they're not really considered domesticated as much as your dogs are. There's a lot of cats that do very, very well out in the neighborhood. Free roaming cats, that aren't owned by any particular individual, and they do very well in the community. Dogs, on the other hand, tend to be more reliant on their humans for their care, and so we see a lot more dogs than we do cats.
Lastly, Flora gave me some tips on what we can do to help out the situation.
It is so easy to find your new best friend, and of course we always encourage you to adopt, don't shop, make adoption your only option. When you're adding a new family member, all you do is come into the Pet Adoption and Protection Center. We're open 7 days a week starting at 10 a.m. You come in, you search through our gallery of pets. It's very, very friendly environment that we have here, and once you find a few that you think that you are a good match with, of course always looking at your lifestyle and their characteristics to make sure that you're a good match. You do a meet and greet. If you find that match, you just go to the front of the shelter, process the adoption, and you can take that new best friend home the very same day. And those pets all come with their microchip, with their sterilization surgery. They are dewormed, they have age-appropriate vaccines, and all of that for very, very low cost. cost. We're here in Doral at 3599 Northwest 79th Avenue, and like I said, we are open 7 days a week, so we're here, we're waiting for you, and so is your new best friend. Maybe Spice will still be here and you can take him home.
The next time you're thinking of adding a furry friend to your family, make adoption your only option. For WBlN, I'm Lucas Bogardis.
Thank you, Lucas. The Defense Department is taking steps to protect military families from rising inflation. While military members will be getting a 4.6% pay increase in January, inflation stands on more than 8%. To help make up the difference, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is making policy changes like cutting the cost of food at military commissionaries. Austin is also increasing the basic housing allowance for active duty service members and striving to make childcare more affordable. The Defense Department is also launching a new career accelerator initiative to help military spouses find higher paying private jobs. Austin wants to make sure military families who devote their lives to protecting their country are protected themselves from rising costs. Tropical Depression 9 is formed in the Central Caribbean Sea Friday morning. The National Hurricane Center says 9 is about 615 miles southeast of Jamaica, with winds reaching 35 miles per hour. The storm is expected to strengthen to a tropical storm and into a hurricane by the end of the weekend. Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Cuba, and Florida are expected to see impacts from the storm early next week.
What's up, Wolverines? I'm Tyler James, and here's your sports for today. Tonight, the varsity football team plays against Somerset at 7:30. Now, let's take a moment to talk about one of our first-year coaches on the staff who has had a long journey through the game of football, Coach Kevin Kroboth. Matthew Barturin has more on the story.
Football season is in full swing, and you may have seen Coach Kevin Kroboth, one of our first-year coaches. He serves as the defensive coordinator as well as the head of strength and conditioning for the school.
So I grew up in Pennsylvania. I'm not originally from down here. I went to high school in a small town called Nazareth. I was fortunate enough to have a good high school career in football and both baseball, and I had an opportunity to play either or at the next level. And I chose to play football at the Temple University. And from there, I thank God every day that I had unbelievable coaches that got me to a place where I was able to play in the NFL. And unfortunately, it wasn't God's plan to play there too long. It was about 2 weeks into training camp, we found out I had a heart condition. And I was told I was no longer allowed to play football. And from there, I didn't really know what the next step was. And fortunately enough, my college coach actually called me and said, "Hey, what do you think about trying to get into the coaching business?" And sports was a big part of my life, and I thought maybe that was an opportunity to be able to give back to younger student athletes, to help them along with their journey and help them with their goals and aspirations. And I got into coaching right after that, and from there I did 12 years in the college level. I was at Temple, back at my alma mater, and then I went to Baylor, and then I came to the University of Miami. The experience has honestly been fantastic. All the way from the coaches I coach with to the players I get to coach. Either it's in the weight room, I'm getting to learn who the basketball team is now, but I also obviously coach football. So I can't be more thankful to be at a place where these kids strive not only to be fantastic in the classroom, but also out here on the football field or the basketball court, wherever sport I'm working with. These athletes are hungry to be successful, and it just holds true to who a Belen student athlete is, and they want to be excellent in the classroom and on the field.
From WBlN, I'm Matthew Barturin.
JV football traveled to Archbishop Coleman Carroll and lost in a tough game yesterday, 16-14. Key players that scored in the game were Justin Mowry and Julian Quintero. The varsity swim team took first place in their meet against St. Brendan and Terra. Thomas Van Hool finished first in the 100-yard butterfly and 500-yard freestyle. Congrats to them on a great season opener. It's that time again. Leatherman jackets must be ordered by October 4th. All orders are placed online. Orders will be picked up after the sports banquet. Once you fill out the form online, bring it to Coach Apa or Coach Aretia, your letter in an envelope or Ziploc bag with your name on the bag. Yesterday, Thursday night football, the Browns beat the Steelers 29-17. Jacoby Brissett threw for 220 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Nick Chubb ran for 113 yards. But there were some big-time plays from the Steelers. One of the plays was from George Pickens with an amazing one-handed catch. This is being considered one of the catch of the year. It's only been week 3. Now let's look at this play.
He was in college at Georgia. Vertical stretch the defense, make play hand to hit the ground and hold on to the ball. I mean, think about that. All that momentum, he brings the ball in, and that ball doesn't move at all.
Now back to the guys at the desk.
That's all for your news for today. Make sure to follow us on all social medias, and for all of us here, stay safe
And stay golden, Wolverines.